Morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. My name's Nick, and I run the strategy team at Sky. Hopefully my slides will appear. No, that's definitely not mine. I'm not the CEO yet, so don't tell anyone. Don't tell Jeremy that. Go back. Here we go. Great. And thanks, John, for calling Sky a whale. But pleased to see that we figured in your top 7 innovators. So look, I'm really excited to be here today, and want to talk a little bit about and share some thoughts over the course of the next 50 minutes about how we at Sky see the marketplace and some of the things that we're doing by way of response. Now, to put Sky in context, today we're a truly international business. 18 months ago, we acquired Sky Italy and Sky Germany, and we now have 21 million customers across 5 different countries. And more interesting than that is that across those countries, even though we commonly refer to Western Europe as a mature market, there's still 65 million households that don't take pay television. So we feel we've got an enormous opportunity that exists today, and when we look across the combined expertise and skills that we have in the enlarged group, we feel that we're really well placed to grasp that opportunity. Now, what do we need to do to make sure that we do that? Well, there's 3 things that we really focus on: content, innovation, and service. Now, those 3 things are pretty easy to say, but much harder to do in practice. And from our perspective, it's really important to be strong in each of those 3 areas. But importantly, we need to be strong in the intersection of those areas, because it's where great content and great product innovation meet and come together and really work together that you can start creating experiences and products that customers really love. What I'm going to focus on for this session is very much on the innovation side of things, and particularly the product innovation side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a few insights about how we see the market, three separate areas, and things that really inform why we've taken our products in the direction we have. And then I'll run through and explain how that manifests itself in practice in terms of the things that we have out in the marketplace today and some of the things that we're looking to do in the future. So, three pieces of insight. Now, this first one, John's already touched on, and isn't going to be news to anyone in this room, and the clue's in the name of the conference, but connected devices are very, very widespread. And that's not just second screens. In the UK, over 2/3 of people have smartphones now, and over half of households have tablets, and that continues to grow. But also more and more people are connecting their main television set. Now, we at Sky have a very large connected TV platform, and the vast majority of our customers in the UK have connected via their set-top box. But the set-top box isn't the only way in which people connect their devices, their TVs, to the internet these days. And a lot of these other ways have been around for quite some time, but my view is it's really over the last 18 months or so that these have started to gain traction with consumers. Smart TVs, for example, have been around for a long time, but it's only in the last sort of year or so that they've really started improving, and the user experience has started becoming a much better one, and as a consequence, we see more and more households actually connecting their smart TVs to the internet rather than just having bought one because they wanted a new television. And games consoles, the Sonys and Microsofts of this world, clearly have designs on having their consoles as the gateway to people's living rooms, and the amount of services that you can access through those consoles has grown exponentially in recent times. And then finally, the streaming device category, and another category that has been around for quite some time but is really gaining traction, and at Sky we're trying to push that through selling the Roku box, which is part of our strategy for pushing Now TV into households. But there are some pretty big other players in that market as well. Apple, Amazon, and Google are all playing in that space. And ironically, given those players, that's at the lower end of the market. So there's lots of different ways in which people can connect their TVs now. And there's no longer a kind of a one-size-fits-all approach whereby you only get your TV connected if you've got a relationship with a set-top box pay TV operator. People can choose the way to do that, either by coincidence or because they've got a specific set of needs or a specific budget that they want to meet. And then when you take all of those connected devices and ally that to improvements in broadband speeds, and in the UK the average broadband speed is now over 20 megs per second, even though I'm sure for many people it doesn't feel like that a lot of the time. You've got an ecosystem that allows a lot of people to create services that they can offer to customers. So that's the first one. Second one is very much a consequence of that first one, and it's about how there is so much more competition out there today, more than there ever has been before, and consumers have got a huge amount of choice as a consequence. And we tend to think of it in three buckets. There's the telcos, many of whom have entered the TV market because they see a revenue opportunity or because they've got existing established customer bases in fixed or mobile that they want to defend. You've also got OTT players like Netflix and Amazon who see this ecosystem there and are riding off the back of it to launch services and grow very large customer bases at an enormous pace. And then you also have content businesses who are thinking, well, actually, why should I always go through a middleman? Perhaps I can cut the middleman out and go direct to consumer with an offering and see how that works. One of the things that I think is important to note about this is that all of these businesses are not necessarily creating Me Too services. They're not all just seeking to replicate what incumbent businesses have got in place. Many of them are focused on specific niches. Now, that may be content in a particular genre, it may be content from just a specific provider, it may be a very low-cost offering, or it may be an offering that provides large amounts of flexibility. So there's a whole range of services that are often targeting different areas of the market. And it comes back to the theme that I touched on when I started talking about connecting your TVs. Yeah, a one-size-fits-all approach no longer works because customers have got a huge amount of choice that they can pick from. And particularly in the US, when we hear a lot of talk about cord cutting, to me that's very much a consequence of the fact that the big bundle has been very dominant in the US for a long time, and the cable ARPUs are very, very high, and people are taking the opportunity to trade down to some of these new services. In the UK, I think we start from a slightly different place in that the strength of the free-to-air sector has long been a constraint on pay TV penetration, and as such the big bundle was unbundled quite a long time ago. But we can't be complacent about that and need to make sure that we offer something that appeals to a wide range of customers, and it's not going to be just one thing. Next one is viewing habits. Now, viewing habits is a really interesting topic, and I could have spent the whole 50 minutes on this alone. And there's a lot of noise about this, and there's a lot of competing extreme views about what's happening or what's not happening. And I think there's a few factors driving that. First is truly understanding viewing habits is pretty hard. The data is very fragmented, and often there's a lot of research that just is a set of people who go out and talk to customers and say, what are you watching? And as you'd expect, when you ask people questions like that, the responses you get are not necessarily an accurate reflection of what's truly happening. Secondly, a lot of things are happening reasonably quickly, so we don't have a long time series for these changes, so making forecasts for the future is not necessarily straightforward. And finally, there's a lot of different businesses that have incentives for pushing extreme ends of the story because it suits their ends. I'm going to pull out a few things of how we see the world in terms of viewing. And I think the first point to make is that everyone is just watching more video, and that applies across all demographics. And partly that's because more and more people are watching on different devices. So, 1 in 5 households is watching video on their smartphone or tablets, 1 in 3 on laptops. But viewing to the main TV set is still holding up. People are still watching a lot of video on their main sets. And when you talk to people about that, that's simply and quite obviously because it continues to be the best experience. And even younger demographics, when you talk to them about mobile viewing, the mobile viewing experience still lags a long way behind the main set experience. Obviously because it's a much smaller screen, but also people have issues with buffering, they have concerns about data allowances. So the main set is doing well, and it's here to stay. A large chunk of people are embracing on-demand viewing. So within Sky households, well over 20% of viewing is now either recorded or on-demand, and each year we see that growing. And that's very much driving different expectations in terms of how consumers expect to be able to access content and view content across different devices and at the time that they want. But in spite of that, linear still remains very, very important, and it remains the majority of viewing. So linear isn't going to disappear overnight, and whilst it's been in decline for the last few years, again, the recent kind of trends over the last 6 to 12 months shows that decline is moderating, and if we continue on the trend that we're at, linear viewing is going to be a very high proportion of people's habits for a long while to stay. And when you unpick some of those averages, you realise that actually there's quite a lot of stuff happening within those. So it is true to say that younger demographics have a tendency to spend more time on other devices and more time on demand. But it's not quite as straightforward as that. When we look within the Sky base, we can see different pockets and very different habits emerging. So a couple of pen portraits I could quickly paint for you. If you look at a group of customers, in their 20s or 30s, professionals, work very hard, very time poor, like watching movies, but not that keen on sports. For that group of people, well over half of their viewing these days is on demand. Take another group, people who are retired, have got plenty of time, strong interest in sports, strong interest in news. Even though the PVR has been around for well over 10, 15 years, they spend well over 95% of their time watching live. So back to the point I've made a few times already, one size doesn't fit all anymore. Consumer habits are changing, but they're also changing at very different speeds. And if you want to be a mass market player, you have to be able to make sure that you can cater for all of those different groups, which, from Sky's perspective, we feel is a really big opportunity. So, those are the insights. What are we doing about it? So, this is how we think about segmenting the market. So, we've now got 3 core products, and I'm going to jump through each of these in turn and talk a little bit about them. But the overriding principle here is, the way things are evolving, we need to be able to offer a range of different things, because the consumer is not a group that just wants the same thing, and we want to provide different services to people so they can pick and choose the thing that is most suited to their viewing habits, their budget, and how they want to engage with content. So I'm going to start with Sky Q. And as Graham said, there's lots of ads out there at the moment. We launched a few weeks ago. The first few customers have been installed now. I've had it at home for a number of months now, and we really feel that it's the next big step in the viewing experience. It's the next step after Sky Plus, which we felt was very revolutionary at its time. But the world has moved along. And this is very much for the premium end of the market. So it's for people who want to spend time watching a lot of TV, who want the very best TV, and absolutely want it on their terms. And there's been a lot of talk for years and years about genuinely allowing people to access what they want, when they want, and where they want. And we feel that Sky Q is finally the product that actually delivers this. It's very easy to navigate. It allows people to access stuff all throughout their house. It just has one place where their recordings go. Recordings can be shifted and taken out of the house. You can view on multiple screens in the house simultaneously. And it finally delivers on the promise that people have wanted for so long in a very simple and effortless way. And the platform that we've built is one that is very flexible and will allow for continuous innovation. And looking at John's list there of some of the things that some businesses do and some businesses don't. There are some that we haven't done yet, things like UHD, voice control. They're going to come along very soon, and we're going to do them very well through Sky Q, which allows us the flexibility of being able to launch new services on a very, very regular basis. So that's Sky Q. At the other end of the market, there's Now TV. So this is very much for people who value flexibility. Who want great choice but want to be able to dip in and dip out on their terms. And we've been working very hard on this for a while now, and I think we've learnt a lot. And offering a platform that does live streaming of channels, particularly sports channels at scale, is not an easy endeavour. And we feel that we're in a good place on this. We're continuing to improve the user experience. We've got a new UI that we think is easier to navigate, pushes on demand more closely to customers, so it's easy to find what they're looking for. And we've got a next generation box that's going to be launching in the summer that has an integrated DTT tuner. So that will allow customers to be able to access the best free-to-air content alongside the best pay content on their own terms. And the ability to be able to buy a box at a very low price will mean the barriers to actually taking that product are very, very low. So at the heart of our offer, though, in the middle of Sky Q and Now TV is Sky Plus. And we don't want to lose sight of the fact that that continues to be a very important and very valuable product, and a large proportion of our customers will continue to take that for a number of years. So we're still focusing on continuing to improve that experience as regularly as we can, and there's lots of software updates that land continuously. We've got a new layout for the EPG, which you can see up there on the screen. We're going to make far better use of that front page real estate. We'll make it much more content rich, surface a lot more on-demand content, and it will be fascinating to see how our customers respond to that. The testing so far has gone really well. The companion for Sky Plus is obviously Sky Go. We relaunched the UI for Sky Go in the last month or so, which again was taking the Sky Go experience that had started off very much as a live experience, because we launched Sky Go a long time ago before on-demand really took off. So we've now reframed it to make sure that it pushes the live content, because it's still important for people who want to watch sport, but also gives the opportunity to surface on-demand content for people who want to access that. So very much across each of those products, there's going to be continuous innovation that keeps making them better and better. And if you're a customer who is interested in consuming great content in different ways, then we like to think that we've got something that can suit whatever your needs might be. That's it. I've covered quite a lot of ground in about 15 minutes. In summary, I think there's a lot of things happening in the market, but we're really excited by them because we think the trends are playing to our strengths, and I think we can help to accelerate those trends by improving the products that I've talked about. There's a lot happening in content and service as well, the other pillars that stand alongside innovation. But if we can get these products right and customers will respond to them, then we are well placed to take the big opportunity that I outlined at the beginning of this session. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. Very quick question from me. Is Sky Plus, you're going to call the legacy platform then Sky Plus? What I currently have is Sky Plus HD, that is now Sky Plus, is that right?
I think Sky Plus is how that's the way consumers talk about it. I mean, HD is obviously an important part of it, but Sky Plus is when you speak to customers in their homes. Sky Plus is how they refer to it.
And the launch of your UHD service, obviously within these four walls and one or two people in the audience, any hint on timing of that? You say it's going to be the most comprehensive service ever. Any hint on when you...
Yes, so you should expect that in time for the summer.
Time for the summer. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick. That's very kind.
Cool.